All right. Welcome back to the Go for CEO channel. Thanks so much for being here. And once again, with one of the greats of the stage of business of life. This guy has a deep heart, and you're going to hear some incredible messages today of not only business, but just some of the things I've been able to learn from him on stage with Clubhouse. And yes, I brought someone else off of Clubhouse to talk on the Go for CEO channel, Mr. Daniel Gomez. Daniel Gomez inspires and multiple serial entrepreneur. Thank you so much for coming on the Go for CEO channel.
John the Bomb, man. Check this out. I'm on TV. I'm on your show today, dude. I'm excited. I'm going to bring the energy. And thank you so much for having me, man. I'll tell you what, we're both in the CST time zone, and we're on the same link. So I'm going to share some wisdom. And honestly, just thank you for having me. I've been excited to be on your show, man. So thank you.
Awesome, brother. Well, hey, man, it's always a pleasure to meet people like yourself that, truly embody the 5 F's that I live by, right? So faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun, right? And I know you know how to have fun. And obviously the first one is a big deal to you. And we talked a little bit offline. So the Go for CEO community, we always like to hear kind of what helped you kind of ideate the idea of your business. I see the beautiful banner in the back that we're going to talk about as well for March 2022 in the event with Sticker Shock. So what was kind of the background, and allow us to kind of get into your world of how you started this business?
Well, John, everybody does more than what they realize. We're just always stuck in a position. We're stuck in a job, in a culture, in a corporate environment, whatever it may be for you. You do more than what you realize. And it's amazing that we don't realize it until we get out of it. We're stuck in the forest until we get out of the forest, is what I say. And the reason I say that is because when I was in the automotive industry for almost 20 years, I ran multi-million-dollar dealerships. I had 100 employees at one time, and it was just so many things that we do, but we do it out of habit after a while that you don't really pay attention to what you do, as crazy as that may sound, or right. But I say that because when my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer 4 years ago, and I resigned to take care of her because she got a double mastectomy and she got depressed on me, I had to make a decision. Was I going to hire somebody to take care of her, or was I going to man up and do it? And I'll tell you what, it was a no-brainer. Just kind of some things evolved at work. And I just said, I guess this is where I resign, because my wife needed me, and it didn't matter how much success I've had monetarily and our house being paid off and all this wealth that we had accumulated. It wasn't going to save her. She needed her husband. And it was an easy decision to make. But the thing is that once I got away from, I unplugged myself from business. I was looking at TV for 2 weeks, and I said, this isn't going to work, because my mind was going 100 miles an hour. And then all these negative thoughts started coming up, and I was just watching TV, really just like, that one-eyed monster. And as I looked there, I went to the bathroom one day, and I just looked in the mirror, and I was just like, you need to change, dude. Like, there's some things you need to address in your life. And I think the busyness of having 100 employees is gone. The busyness of going out, because my wife had a double mastectomy, so we weren't going anywhere, right? Our friends were distant because we were just homebodies, because she had to heal for 2 months. And then just everything just kind of went away, and just you and the guy in the mirror. And I just said, man. And I picked up a book for the first time in a very long time. And then my mind started going 100 miles an hour in the right direction. And I got the idea as I was getting ready to go for an interview, and found this old email. And I just felt, as I read this email, I would go out with Chevrolet. I still wear my Chevrolet ring, as a matter of fact, because it's a conversation piece. And my intentions were to buy a dealership. So to make a long story short, I found this email, and it said, Daniel, who is this guy, automotive guy, that's came and spoke at the school? My son is running around the house, yelling and screaming, saying things in the mirror. He puts on this cap. Who is this guy? This was the email to the counselor. And it said, tell him I said, thank you. EJ has never been happier. He looks in the mirror. He puts on a Chevrolet cap. He tells himself, I love myself. I believe in myself. And at that moment, I started crying, John. I was looking for my tie. This email was in my tie rack. And that moment, I felt like God said, I want you to go be a motivational speaker. And that's where the crazy idea was planted. And I just ran with it, man.
Wow. Well, hey, man, decisions are made. And those are the breakthroughs, right? When you really sell out to a decision and go for it. So awesome. And what a big decision to be made to leave all that, but for the right choice, right, for your wife. And so glad to hear that. So, what were some of the few steps that you started? Because I mean, you were talking about a speaking business from zero. Sorry. Um, what were some steps that people could take? And I see the sticker shock, so maybe we can even talk about that side of things, of what you've developed that over the last few years. But what were those initial steps that you took to really kind of start to decipher, all right, if I'm going to become a speaker, if that's going to be my business, that's who I am as an entity, what were those things that you did?
Well, I think this is where most people mess up, John, is whenever you make a switch, whether you're going from one industry to another industry or from one career to another career, they always have the dumb idea in their mind that they're starting over. You're not starting over.
Mhm.
I was bringing with me all the business experience that I had from the automotive industry. I understood financials. I understood what my revenue, what needed to be. I understood what my compensation percentage was. I understood business.
Mhm.
But like I said, you don't realize you know it until you switch and you're like, these ideas start coming into you. So I think for me is what I would say to this is don't, the first step is realize this is write down everything you did in your present career, in your present job, in your present business. And you're going to realize like, wow, you're going to reflect that. Wow, you know what? I know leadership. I had 100 employees. Man, I'm a pretty good team builder because we sold a lot of cars. We broke records. And then communication. So all these things that I realized that I was doing, I was like, wow. So I brought what I had with me. So I think the first thing you got to do is really assess the talents and the gifts that you have because you have more than you realize. And once you have those gifts, you just don't overthink it. Too many people overthink everything. Think about this. When you and your wife had a baby, did you say, well, we're going to have the baby in January because we want it to be colder because we don't want to have the baby in the heat? And no, you didn't say all that stuff. You just, guess what? When she was pregnant, it happened by God's will and the baby was born.
Mhm.
If we took the same approach in starting a business as having children, and I mean by not really, because you can't really plan it. You can plan it all you want, but it's never going to be a perfect timing.
Mhm.
And I think the biggest lie that we try to tell ourselves is it needs to be perfect in business, and it doesn't. You just got to start where you're at. Bring bring your experience from your prior opportunities, your prior careers, and that's where you start. And then from there you build up because you never have all the answers because economies is always changing, business is always evolving. So I would say these two things. The first thing is assess your skill set, assess what you bring, your capabilities is what I would say. And then second, just start taking action and doing because right, we can have all the knowledge we want, but if we don't have all the doing, the knowledge doesn't do anything for us.
I love it. There's an acronym that you're making me think, and I am John the Bomb, right? Building others means business. So I love acronyms. I'll share one with you, and it kind of relates to what you just talked about. Is AOA. So I talk a lot about assess where you're at, right? Like what you just said, organize, and then freaking attack. Like you got to attack, right? Go do it, take the action. So awesome. I love to hear that. And you didn't overcomplicate things. You really just made it a decision. It was something in your heart, and God, you got some divine action to be able to go out and make that happen. So obviously, that still lends it to itself. Like, did you go back to your other resources, right? Your prior resources like dealerships? Where did you start? Like, who did you start to become this motivational speaker, and what was the platform that you built for yourself?
Well, the thing is, this is that when I had this idea, everybody thought I was crazy and they laughed at me. And I
Mhm.
knew, right? I knew I could motivate because even though I ran multi-million dollar dealerships, even though I ran a Chevrolet dealership for many years, I love to train, right? I love to train. And even though it wasn't because I was a micromanager, I just love pouring into the sales team. So every Monday I did the meeting and little did I know that I was putting in the reps. Sometimes you're doing something and you don't even realize it's preparation for you 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. So for 3.5 years, almost 4 years, I was doing the training every Monday morning. And because we had fun, we'd take a big old, stereo in there and we'd be clapping and singing and being silly and just, but right, that's the way we started the week. So when this happened, and we're going, it's like, well, I can't speak yet, but I know how to sell.
Mhm.
So I just took what I had. I put a sales training manual together, went and knocked on some dealership doors, knocked on some other real estate doors, and next thing you know, I did a training for Go's Gym, and then I did a training for another dealership, and Then they wanted to hire me, and that was a pivotal moment because I almost took the money over my own business. And I said, no, I really think I need to do this. And I just put a training manual together and knocked on doors. And I didn't really just question. I didn't have a choice. My
Mhm.
wife had a double mastectomy, and she was recovering, and my back was against the wall, and there was only one way to go, and it's forward. And I think so many people, they have one foot in. Oh yes, yes, no. Like sometimes guys are worse in the fact that they're just prima donnas. Just freaking do it. Like do it. And if you're a woman out there, just do it too, right? I mean, it's you got to just take action. And the thing is this: is think about this. I was here. My career as a motivational speaker was over there. I knew where I was going, right? So I
Mhm.
knew where I was. I knew where I wanted to go. I'm here in San Antonio. You're in Chicago. If I was to leave here at night, I could get my way to Chicago at night. Why? Because my headlights give me 30 feet, 40 feet to see in front of me.
Hmm.
The same way you're driving, the illumination comes as you're going down the highway. You can't see a 8 miles down the road. It's dark. Your lights ain't that bright. Well, the same way as you're going through life, as you're going through your business experience, as you're growing your business, the things you need, the people that you need to meet are going to be illuminated in front of you. And that's your point of contact to get you to the next mile point and the next checkpoint. And next thing you know, guess what? I ended up a motivational speaker. Next thing you know, guess what? I trusted IH10. I went all the way up. It told me to follow it. The light was illuminating me. And next thing you know, I'm in Chicago with John the Bomb. Boom, baby.
Boom.
That's all you got to do.
That's awesome.
We
But
overthink. We overthink 20 feet ahead. I mean, 20 miles ahead. No, just worry about where you're at. Do what you can at this moment. And when the people need to be brought into, when you're ready, the right people, the right situations will be presented in front of you. But you got to be moving.
yeah, you got to be moving towards where you want to go, right? Or else the universe can't really, guide you anywhere. You're what they call a wandering generality, right? So
Yeah.
wandering around. So awesome, brother. Well, hey, look, that's pretty interesting. So you went back to the roots that you had built such credit with, and they knew you. They started hiring you. In fact, some of them wanted to bring you on, full time as their employee, but you decided to stay, diligent to your perspective and your goals. So give us a little insight. So the first 6 to 12 months, you're starting to speak. How are you, I guess, trying to put quantitative numbers together? Are you just saying to yourself, hey, this is what I used to make, so I need to make this hourly? Or were you given some pushback? What were some of those things for
Well,
monetary
I'm glad
purposes?
you asked that, right? Because I have my new book coming out. And this is the thing is that I realized this, right? Because I would be like, man, John the Bomb kicks butt. And this little Billy over here, little Randy over here, why doesn't he get it? How come he ain't selling? I would always wonder that. They got the same training. I mean, come on, we're giving them the same energy. They have the same tools. They got the same inventory. This guy's knocking it out of the park. 30 cars a month. This guy's doing 3 or 4. Why?
Mhm.
And I finally realized what it is that we all have an internal economy within ourselves. Think about that. We have an internal economy within us. Either you have a poor man's economy or you have a success, wealthy man's economy. And most people, many people have that poor man's internal economy. So whatever your money template is, that's what you're going to do. So
Mhm.
my money template was success. My money I already knew what I was worth. I already knew I was worth $250,000. So I would automatically I was going to attract those opportunities. Is what I is what was is of what I demanded. Right, I was intentional because wherever I go, like I'm success. That's the way I see myself. And
Mhm.
if you see people, we all know those people, right? Man, John got the Midas touch. Jason got the Midas touch. Whatever he touched turns to gold. It's not by chance. It's not by luck. It's a mindset. It's that I call it the millionaire's mindset. So when you have that a success mindset, when you have that wealth mindset, I call it right. You have a millionaire's DNA. When you have that with you, you attract the right opportunities. So to answer your question, is I took what I had and then I started doing trainings. But then I guess what? I was still putting in the reps. And I think so many people they wait for opportunities to come to them. No, you got to go out there. Part of it is you got to humble yourself. Think about it. I was running the dealership, making a lot of money, and I took a step back. And most people ain't wanting to do that. That's where their fault is. Or they do take that step, and they're like, man, I used to be the man up there. Man, why did I leave there? So they don't ever commit. And if you never commit, you're never gonna. No matter what you do, if you never commit, if you're not all in, commitment is a big thing. If you're not gonna commit, you're not gonna succeed because you're always gonna say, "Man, why did I leave?" Or "What if?"
Mm.
So that's a big part of the reason most people fail when they become a solopreneur, entrepreneur, small business, however you want to see it, however you want to medium enterprise, because they don't commit. So as I'm going through this, I'm just knocking on doors, meeting people, volunteering my speaking because I got to put in the reps. I got to do my reps. I got to practice. And I even did this. I would get a brush, true story. When I first started speaking, I'd get a brush. I would speak to my family and I would time myself just to kind of see what my presentations were like. That way I knew I had an idea. And right, God saw this. He goes, well, this guy's practicing. He's not feeling sorry for himself. He's not where he wants to be, but he's doing it. I was making coming out of the gate maybe 5,000, 6,000 a month. I was excited, right? I mean, for my first couple of months, I was like, man, I'm doing this. And then next thing you know, I get a phone call because somebody, right? Even though I wasn't where I wanted to be, I was still progressing. I get a call one day and they're like, we're looking for Daniel Gomez. I'm like, this is he. I go, who's this, sir? He goes, oh, this is the United States Air Force. I said, no, who's this for real, sir? They go, no, it's the United States Air Force. I said, man, come on. Like, I'm going to hang up the phone on you. Like, who is this for real? He goes, sir, it's some long name, Steve Master Sergeant. Da, da, da. I was like, where you at? He's like, Security's Hill, sir. I knew Security Hill.
Mm.
I said, how'd you find me? He goes, oh, man, we Googled leadership and you came up.
Oh, wow.
I took what I had and I utilized what I had to the max. Because you know what, man, why don't you come over here and check it out? We just put over $300,000 into our new auditorium here on base. See if it's something that you would consider speaking. I said, sure, let me go check it out. Right? Because I took what I had, the pictures that I had taken at these dealerships in a suit, right? I'm a suit guy. I can sport a suit. I can carry a suit. So I took the pictures that I had. I put them on my website. I put what I had and God blessed it. Next thing you know, I'm over here at the Air Force Base and I'm like, saliving inside, right? I'm like, wow. And I told him, he goes, well, what do you think? I said, well, I think it might work. He goes, well, let me know. I said, well, so I was kind of playing reverse psychology because I'm in sales. Came back home. I told my wife, you better take this day off because I need you to come record me. She recorded me on my iPhone at the time, iPhone 8. That same footage, John, is on my website still. I never took it down because out of all the speakers out there in the world, less than 1% can say they trained the United States Air Force.
That's awesome.
And that's how my business just exploded from there.
And that was in the first 6 to 12 months?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. What an incredible story. And look, ladies and gentlemen, Go for CEO community, you're talking about someone that, cut the cord, made a decision for his family, specifically his wife, and then just got this inspiration a few weeks later and goes, hey, I'm just going to go back and put the work in. And within 6 to 12 months gets rewarded with this higher profile opportunity, which obviously launches everything. So, all right. So we get to this point where you're making some good money, relatively speaking, not necessarily to where you were, but to maintain and to get your family going. And you get the speaking opportunity. So what are some things that you did with that video? Had you already set up the website? Had you already connected with some people for digital marketing or something like that? Like, what were some other things that you did to market your new presence in the marketplace?
Well, one thing that I did is I had a like a generic website. And what's one thing that I think one of the first coaches that I hired. First of all, when all this is going on, I knew I needed help.
Mm.
And I think so many times as men, we our pride, our ego gets in the way, and we don't ask for help because maybe we had this big title at AT&T or at Procter and Gamble. You need to ask for help. You need a coach. So I hired a coach. It was scary because I had never even heard of what the heck a coach was, but you get into the arena of personal development and it's something that you hear every single day. So I hired a coach and he just says, you need a website, you need a speaker reel. He told me three things I needed. So I said, okay, you need a website, built what I could with what I had. You need a speaker reel. I didn't have a very professional speaker reel, but I did that. And as I did that, then next thing you know, it's like I put on the website what I had. And then next thing you know, that video from the United States Air Force, I had money saved up. So I said, well, I got better content. So I think if I want to get higher paid in gigs, I need to make it more presentable. So spend 1,500 on a new website at the time, and then just put the speaker reel. We did a small edit, made it happen. And man, that got me on stage with Tom Billy, like we were talking about. And I was up there
Mm,
with Alex Stern and Tom Billy in Sacramento, and that opened up even more doors. So it's like I said, as you're driving to Chicago, the headlights are going to give you 30, 40 feet, and you meet certain people. I met the United States Air Force. They took me to another level. Then that got me on another stage. And then after that, I had videos from two big events, and I started getting booked left and right. My second year, I was making over 100,000, and I still wasn't where I wanted to be because I was still making less in the car business. But this is where people got to see, how bad do you want it?
mm,
I was making money. I was making good money as a speaker. And the thing is, I always live below my means. I always live below my means. But now it's like all of a sudden I put in the reps, showed up consistently. If you can be in your arena of business for 6 months to a year, you're gonna outlast the competition, because most people quit within 3 months, John.
mm.
Most people are gonna give up and quit within 3 months. If you can be consistent for 6 months to a year, yeah, and that's what I did. I outlasted everybody I look around me. The speakers that were with me when I started, half of them left in 2020, and the other half left this year.
Mm.
There's no
Wow.
competition, right? They don't have they weren't committed.
Hmm.
And that's been a big part of my success, is just being consistent, because when you show up, half of success is showing up, then the compound interest shows up, and it gives you credibility, because now I have 12,000 followers on LinkedIn. But it took time. It took me almost 3.5 years to build that up. So nothing happens overnight. Last year I surpassed the automotive industry income, and this year, man, we just crushed it. We doubled 2021. We doubled what we did in 2020. So it's fun. It's like, great. I'll say is that the last F you said, I had during my journey, I was beating myself up, right? Because I'm that D. I want to win. I want to be the best.
Hmm.
I think 2 years ago, a coach of mine said, dude, just like chill out, man. Just have fun. Like, it's gonna come. And I really purposely, last Christmas was the first year I took off like the whole week off and didn't work. And I enjoyed it, because that's what we work for. So I've learned to really, I tell myself every day, one of my affirmations is, I am enjoying the ride. I am enjoying my success, because most people are successful and they don't even freaking enjoy it.
Yeah, they don't stop for a minute to proverbially smell the roses, right? And enjoy it. Or you see your kids grow up like that, and all of a sudden they're 10 and they're 20 and they're 30, and you're like, where did life go? Right. So, pretty interesting stuff. So, really, really cool. I mean, look, you've really shared some really great nuggets. You know, that pathway of going from door to door, from people that you knew, to getting some gigs, to the army, now having a reel, now having a website. I mean, you're starting to really become a business, right? And the business of Daniel Gomez Aspires. So tell us a little bit about kind of how you started to formulate these two divisions that you shared with me offline. And obviously maybe a little bit of the sticker shock and some of the things that you're doing now, because you've outlasted the competition. So,
Well,
so
see,
give us a little insight.
yeah, so I did my book, You Were Born to Fly. It's available on Amazon. So go get your copy today. Great, great, great personal development book on, it's going to help you get the confidence, the edge that you need. But I wrote the book, and along my journey, I'm getting these speaking gigs. People are saying, man, how you doing this? Like, what are you doing? And I'll tell you, because my mentality wasn't to be a speaker. My mentality was to build a speaking business. There's a difference, right?
Mhm.
A speaker is going to fail because all he wants to do is speak. But when you're intentional about building a speaking business, and I think the one great thing that I brought with me was my work ethic from the automotive industry when I ran those dealerships. Is every month you start the month, you close the month, you open the month, you close the month. And when now that I do my business coaching, I would say 70% of small businesses don't keep proper books. They don't keep proper books. They don't know what their account receivables are. They don't know what their account payables are. They don't have a sales process in place. They surely don't have a follow-up system in place.
Mhm.
And they wonder why they fail. And then you ask them, okay, well, how much money have you made? And guess what? They don't know. They don't know. Like, well, how do you not know? And then this is the other sad part. I talked about this on Clubhouse is, well, John the Bomb gave me $300 cash. Okay, did you report it? Well, no. You can't expect God to bless Jiggy, right? This the word says it. The old ancient writer said, dishonest scales will not be honored. They're despised. So if you have dishonest scales in your business, if you're getting cash and you're not reporting all of it, you're only hurting yourself. You're not hurting the government. But I think for me, I ran my business like a business. I
Mhm.
opened a month, I closed a month. I knew what my account receivables are. I know what my payables are. I knew what I was doing. And I think that that's where most people mess up. And as I was growing, people started asking me questions about books, and I would do some book coaching. At that time, my publisher, uh, Michael D. Butler, we would send them some business, and then we just kind of worked off. And then next thing you know, it's like, well, will you coach me? And I wasn't really didn't want to be a coach. And then the more I was moving forward, people said, "Hey, well, can you help me out?" And God said, "Charge them." So I was like, "Okay." And then I had a lot of, like I said, I had a big following on LinkedIn. So half of my clients come from LinkedIn. And next thing you know, we're just going, we're going, we're going. And so when COVID happened, we launched the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. We won Podcast of the Year. So then people started asking, well, how did you do it? Right? We had Evan Carmichael on our podcast. We had Alex Stern. We had Mark Victor Hansen from Chicken Soup for the Soul. John Lee Dumas. We're like, man, you're not even 6 months old and you got these people. I'm like, how'd you do it? So we started doing podcast launching and production because I have the employees. So now we do book publishing, right? Now we do book publishing. We publish books, DG Enterprises. So we have a division where we do professional grade, right? This isn't no Mickey Mouse ugly self-published book. We do professional interior, professional exterior. So we do
Mhm.
book publishing, we do podcast launching. We have our Sticker Shock Speaking Academy where you come and we show you how to become and build a speaking business, how to share your story, right? How to story sell. Because many people, they don't want to be a professional speaker, but you're an insurance agent, you're a real estate agent. Well, guess what? If you don't know how to use stories to sell, you're never going to become the all you can be. And then with Shield of Faith really took off about a year and a half ago, where um, the business coaching just took off, and I won. I was voted number 16 executive coach in San Antonio, and I think I really tapped into that resource of what I didn't realize I had. Right? Sometimes, like I told you when we started, we do more than we realize. So when I really plugged into that, I was like, man, I know numbers. Like, why don't you do it that way? How did you know that? I was like, because you just when you run a business and you really run a business, it's like it's instinctive behaviors. You just don't realize it's there because it happens automatically.
Hmm. That's phenomenal. I mean, I think so much wisdom with what you shared, that you actually propelled the business in front of you, not just the speaker, right? And that's a huge point, Go for CEO community. If you listen to the last 3 to 5 minutes there and envision of where you're going to put yourself as a Go for CEO mindset, right? And building the business and kind of propelling it through the personal side, because you had to work, right? You had to put in the grind. And then 3.5 years later, I mean, look at you got Sticker Shock, you got the leadership, you got the coaching. Now you're doing book publishing. I mean, it's like you've built a real business, right? It's pretty phenomenal, Daniel, and super excited to have you on. So one of the ways that we kind of end our interviews, and I wish we could go another 3 hours. I know you'd have the content, and we do want to have you on every 6 to 12 months. Would love to keep this journey going. Part of Go for CEO is to really interview people over and over and over, build a tribe behind them, and hopefully build a really continuity of someone learning what Daniel Gomez and your business is doing. So, but the way we end it is Go for CEO, right? So C is for client experience, E is for employee engagement, and O is for operational excellence. And you've kind of touched on all of them, but I'd love to get that value added proposition of like, how do people experience doing business with you? Let's start with client experience.
Well, see, I'm going to see that. That's the thing is most people, when they think of client, they only think of external clients. And that's the biggest
Mm,
mistake they make. They forget about the internal clients. And if you don't know, ask yourself that question. Who are my internal clients? Maybe you never heard that before. But one thing that I do is I take care of my number one internal clients, my number one client in general before the external client. And those are my vendors and my employees.
mm,
Every time I get an invoice, I pay it. My goal is to pay it within 3 days. I have the money there. I'm not one of those businesses that waits 30, 45-day net, 60-day net. And many businesses do that. Why the hell do you do that? You're hurting yourself. I know what it was like 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago I mean, it's like, hey, I need a revenue coming in. So the one thing that I'll tell you is the best thing I can give you for a client experience is take care of your internal clients, pay your vendors promptly. As soon as you get that invoice, if you have the funds in the bank, pay it that day, pay it that next day, pay it within a week. Don't wait, because when you honor those people, that's when God's going to honor you and these new opportunities come. Because if you can't be faithful with those vendors that you have, how do you expect to have and grow your foundation? Because you can't be trusted with it, John.
From small to big, right? You don't get honored if you can't manage this to that,
Yeah.
right? So pretty awesome stuff. And that kind of flows right into employee engagement, from not only the employee technically, but what you talked about, which is vendors. Gosh, I mean, people want to engage with you. And it seems like, I don't want to steal the words out of your mouth, but tell us, what do you think you do that's kind of different for employee engagement? And it could be with vendors stuff. Do you take them out? Do you do special things? What are some things that are just maybe a couple secrets that you do?
Well, like for instance, this past week, we bought some people Christmas gifts,
Hmm.
and some of them are remote. So it's like, hey, well, you know what? Just send me like send me an invoice, $50, $100. Like for what? I'm like, for your Christmas gift, and they appreciate that. So think about that. If I'm paying my supply chain every month on time, ahead of time, they're not even expecting it. When I call them, I get whatever I want, not because I'm a prick or I demand it. It's because they know that, man, Daniel pays us right away. We want to help him.
Hmm.
There's times when I've been in a crunch and I've been on the highway and I don't even know how I'm gonna do it, but I call my assistant, hey, I need this done and let's get this done. She's like, okay. And next thing you know, it's like, okay, the email sent. Like, okay. Right. I'm expecting it a day later, and but that's just the type of service you get back when you honor. It's like it goes back to the ancient writer. When you honor those, they honor you.
Hmm. Phenomenal. So the last one is operational excellence. And I know we didn't go too deep into it, but you talked about it, having the good books, closing out a month, starting out a month, closing out a month, starting out a month. So what are some secrets that maybe a small to medium-sized business owner can really think to themselves, okay, Daniel shared this, that's a value prop in that area of operational excellence?
Maybe you're not a professional with QuickBooks. I hate QuickBooks. I'm just being honest. Maybe you're overthinking it. It's as simple as getting an Excel sheet and having your accounts receivables there, what you got to pay, what you got going out, and then you got your revenue coming in. That's the only two. I'm gonna keep it simple because most people, over 70% of people, don't even have that simple process down.
Mhm.
And if you need a copy, email me. I'll send you my template. It's easy. It's just like 50 lines on two Excel sheets. One's called right. One's called my revenue sheet, and the other one's called what I'm paying out payables, and that's it. But you'd be surprised how many people don't do that simple process, and that way you know, right? What expenses do I have going out? Or hey, you know what? John hasn't billed me. What's going on with this? So it brings awareness because you know what you're paying out, and of course your revenue, you want to keep track of that. So I mean, at the end of this month, I'm already done with my books. I just got to close out December and the year's done, and I know how much I made for the year. I know how much I paid out, and the rest is just right. My CPA does my 1099s, and then we just take it from there and we're good to go. But
I love it.
it's sometimes it's as simple as don't overcomplicate it. Don't and I'm still fighting QuickBooks because I have it because there's some people that want a certain invoice, and I'm just like, well, but I don't use QuickBooks for the bookkeeping side of it. I just use it for the invoice side of it. But you got to know where you're at. If you don't know where you're at in your books, how are you going to know where you're going?
Boom.
Oh, baby, come
That's
on.
the way. Let's do it.
Here.
All right, my man. Well, I know that. Oh yeah, I like a little soundboard. So let's end it with this. I see that beautiful, kind of template there, or banner, better
I
yet,
got to get out of the way this way.
the DG and the sticker shock. Let's promote, man. I mean, I'd love for people to really invest in themselves. In my Monday Money Mindset, we talked about 12 investments. Well, first one was relationships. Second one was self-improvement, right? Self-education. So sticker shock, give us a little bit of the preview. I'd love to even include it in the body, ladies and gentlemen. You'll see it in our posts. We're going to promote the heck out of it with Daniel. Tell us a little bit about what kind of value they can get out of sticker shock, and then let people know how to get a hold of you, and we'll end it there.
Yeah, well, like right, we see it says, "Come experience the Sticker Shock Speaking Academy." It's an experience. It's an experience because it is a secular event. But I'll tell you what, God definitely shows up. We've had people that have been just healed from whatever it is, or come up with. They have a chip on their shoulder, and their business isn't growing, and they're like, "Wow, I never realized that." They're actually crying on stage as they tell their story.
Hmm.
And you realize, right? The world needs to hear your story, like it says. So your story matters. And I think for me, the big like aha moment came when it's like, I'm gonna reach people that Tony Robbins will never reach, that Les Brown will never reach, that ET will never reach. Why? Because they're Anglo and African American. I'm Hispanic. I can reach a community that they'll never be able to reach that far deep into it. So don't ever think your voice doesn't matter. So when you come to Sticker Shock, it's an experience. We're going to show you how your voice really matters, and we're going to show you how to really build a paid speaking business where you get paid to share your story. So just imagine you're sharing your story. At the end of it, the event planner gives you a check for $5,000, and you're like, wow, and for an hour of your time. That's exactly what happened to Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard came in September this past year in 2021. He was doing okay. He went to the NSA conference, came to Sticker Shock, didn't really know what to expect. He left. The review he gave us on Google, he goes, "Man, I learned more at Sticker Shock than I did at the other conference. I highly recommend it." Since then, he's made over $15,000 in paid honorariums.
Hmm.
So you get real results. You get real meat and potatoes. We don't hold anything back. We don't give you a little appetizer. Okay, you got to come back to the next one. It's another 2,000. No, we don't play that. We give you what we have. And that's what's made us successful, because we show you how to really monetize, right? So we give you the blueprint, the roadmap, however you want to describe it, to build that speaker mindset, build a speaking business. We give you the speaker contract. And then the huge thing is we give you a professional speaker reel. Because like I mentioned, my big break didn't come in until I was with the United States Air Force. We build an epic stage. We record you on stage. We give you that professional reel, which could sell easily for 1,500 to 2,000. We give you that part of the platinum package. We give you pictures on the red carpet. We give you pictures on stage. And then we give you a video testimonial for that third party validation. So you get all these tangible items that by themselves are worth $3,000, but we give it part of the package because we really want you to succeed. So when you come, you're going to leave with all the tools you need to become that paid professional speaker. Because it's one thing when I do it, but when we have our students making five, 10, $15,000 within a quarter of a year before they left, we do that for you. So that's what I say. Call me at 210-663-5954. That's 210-663-5954, or email me at daniel@danielgomezspeaker.com and just put Sticker Shock email. You heard us here on John the Bomb, and I'll get you a special discount off your ticket and take care of you
Ooh,
with
all
that.
right.
Daniel@danielgomezspeaker.com.
Awesome, brother. Well, hey, man, what a blessing to have you on. I know that you were so gracious earlier. Had a little family situation going on to record this, but thankful. And look, man, you've taught a lot. You taught us tonight, or today, faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun, man. And so excited for you too. I know that you're taking some time off, and like you said this week, that you kind of adjusted your mindset based on the coaching, right, that you've had, and the leadership that you provide to other people, and the friendship that we're starting to build. So thank you so much, Daniel. Appreciate you coming on the Go for CEO channel.
Hey, John the Bomb. Boom, baby. Thank you for having me. I had an amazing time. And everyone out there, God bless you. Remember, nothing is carved in stone. Just go out there and make it happen, because you can change anything in the world if you want to badly enough.
Boom. All
Boom.
right. All right, everybody. Hey, like the channel, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And yes, thankful to having superstars and incredible people that are building real businesses all across the world. So thanks so much, and have a good one. We'll see you next time.